story. They also made up time to hype up this weekend's rally that took place in Washington, D.C. They said hordes and hordes and hordes of racist white nationalists were expected to attend. In reality, you have 24 racist, disgusting, ignorant, racist morons that actually showed up. In fact, the counter-protest was filled with Antifa and other far-left demonstrators. It was far larger. The media called them anti-Trump protesters. They celebrated their righteous presence at the rally. But in reality, we have found many were not anti-Trump protesters or anti-hate protesters. They were anti-Trump. Some called for the end of borders, the end of the United States of America. And no, I'm not making this up. Take a look. No borders, no walls, no USA at all. And by the way, other so-called anti-hate protesters even called for the assassination of the president. No, I'm not making this up. Take a look.
What would you do if Donald Trump showed up at this rally? Murder him? Murder him for the people?
If it came down to it and it was a group effort, we'd have to do him like Gaddafi.
If I get a chance to him up, I would.
If the president showed up at this march, what would you do, sir? Beat his If Trump showed up today, what would you do, sir?
I'd throw a bell at him.
You'd throw a bell at him?
Yeah, why not?
It's only a small sampling of the tape that we have available. I don't have all night to show it. So there you have what CNN fake news called anti-hate protesters. And they wonder why the American people don't trust them. I've told you, journalism in America is dead. It's buried. Right here on Hannity, we always make an effort to be fair and balanced because we will not be the destroy Trump media. Makes us different. Joining us now, the author of the New York Times bestseller, #1 New York Times bestseller, Liars, Leakers, Liberals, the Case Against the Anti-Trump Conspiracy, Judge Jeanine Pirro, the host of Lou Dobbs Tonight on our sister network, the Fox Business Network. He's got the #1 show there. Congratulations. Good to both of us. Number one. Here we go. Listen, I don't even know where to start.
I don't either.
And by the way, we also have our own Fox News investigative reporter, Sarah Carter. I didn't mean to forget you. You're #1 too, Sarah. Let me start with you.
Okay,
you have a new
Sean.
report out tonight. I'll let you put it in your own words.
Well, yes, I have a report out tonight. I spoke to a number of FBI agents, former FBI agents, one in particular that worked for OPR. And we were talking and discussing about Peter Strzok and the fact that OPR was only going to give him a 60-day suspension, basically a slap on the wrist and demotion. And he was saying that it was incredible that FBI Deputy Director David Bowditch did the right thing. Remember, Peter Strzok was involved in the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court application that went before the secret court to spy on Carter Page. And the biggest part of this story that everyone's missing, this isn't about anti-Trump text messages. This is about the fact that they omitted and they withheld information from the court. That is a flagrant violation, they said, of the court and an abuse of the court. And this is probably the real reason why Peter Strzok was dismissed. You know, there's a lot of questions that are going to be coming out, particularly with Bruce Orr and his deposition. If he chooses not to turn up for the deposition on August 28th with Congress, he will be subpoenaed. But there are a lot of questions they're going to have for Bruce Orr about Peter Strzok and why so much information was withheld from the Fisk court. And I think that's where this is going, Sean. That is going to be one of the biggest stories because withholding information is a violation that the Fisk court just can't withstand.
And that's the FISA court, for those who don't FISA court applications, Fisk or FISA, two separate things, but the same thing. Let me go to the legality of this, Judge, and more importantly, how this would impact. He taints every single thing that supposedly Robert Mueller is looking into.
Exactly, and I talked about it in my open this week. If Robert Mueller's investigation is premised on Peter Strzok's information or lack thereof when he testified before Congress and said, I can't tell you this because the FBI wants me to keep it secret. And then when the FBI says you can talk, he says, I don't remember. If the basis of the FBI investigation is the fake counterintelligence investigation started by Peter Strzok, then Mueller goes down, any actions of Mueller goes down, and the whole investigation.
But the legitimacy has been questioned in the Manafort case and others, and because of the wide, deep mandate was basically, investigate 2005 taxes that have nothing to do with Russia or the election.
Right.
It allowed for that.
They did allow for that, but you know, I'm a believer. I still think that hope springs eternal.
You're a believer? Really? You're a believer that investigations weren't fixed? You're a believer that FISA courts weren't lied to?
I'm a believer that in the end, justice will be meted out.
Hillary Clinton won. There would be no justice. We wouldn't even know this information.
You're right. You're right.
Lou.
We wouldn't know it, but what we do know right now is enough to make anyone's head spin. We know that this special counsel was conflicted from the very beginning. Mueller should never have been appointed. The special counsel should never have been created. And it's easy to lose sight of what this is all about. It starts really with Peter Strzok. He made the decision not to prosecute Hillary Clinton.
With Comey. They were writing the exoneration in May.
He was leading the investigation. He helped James Comey write the letter that famously went from gross negligence, which was actionable on the part of the Justice Department guidelines, to extreme carelessness, which gave them a way out to avoid.
That's the legal standard to the non-legal standard.
But this is, again, Strzok. It is also Strzok leading the investigation when the FBI was in charge of the Russian collusion charge, and that narrative that laid the foundation for the special counsel.
And let me go to the start of where this all began, because we don't believe, sir, that it began as the left and the media has been advancing a narrative about George Papadopoulos and the Australian guy and meeting over drinks, and it just happened randomly. We believe it began way before, correct?
Yes, absolutely. I've spoken with George Papadopoulos' wife, Simona, and she testified before Congress, and she was emphatic before Congress, she told me, through the questioning behind closed doors, that there were so many players coming at her husband, you know, from Stephen Halper in Great Britain to Misfud, the professor, and all these people appeared to be giving information, trying to lure George Papadopoulos in, trying to give information that would eventually be able to be used against him by the FBI. And, you know, the special counsel went so far, Sean, as to threaten him. They threatened that they were going to charge him with being an Israeli spy. They kept threatening him over and over again until he pleaded guilty to one count of lying. Their lives have been ruined. But look, this is what the special counsel does. It has great expansive power, and that was given to them by Rod Rosenstein, who actually signed the 4th warrant on Carter Page to spy on him.
Well, that's the one we all really want to see and need to see, because at that point we knew Hillary paid for it. We know it was the bulk of information to obtain the FISA warrants. Let me shift gears just remotely here. Let me go to this weekend. In a sense, with all the hype leading up to the protest yesterday, the fact that you have, you know, maybe 30 ignorant, racist morons that show up at this rally shows that this narrative that Republicans and conservatives support these idiots, that's not true, even though it gets said every election. But more importantly, the media says, well, they're anti-hate. But I have tapes that go on for, you know, minutes of people saying they want to punch the president, be violent against the president, assassinate the president. A lot of people.
Destroy America.
Yes,
Destroy
America.
Yeah, that's right. No border, no wall, no border, no USA at all.
See, here's the point. The media is going along with this theme that they are anti-fascist. They are not anti-fascist. They are the essence of fascism. And by the way, the right, the KKK, the white nationalists, you know, the 24 of them. At the end of the day, that's not what it was about. And I decry and detest everything they stand for. Let me make that clear. But when you go out there dressed up in a ninja getup as Antifa and tell people what they can read and not read, then that is fascism in America. And they decry us and say that they should kill us.
A pattern of violent rhetoric. Robert De Niro, Madonna, I can keep going. You know the list, you play it on your show.
Absolutely. And these guys dressed up with their masks and their pajamas and just the ignorance they display. First of all, why isn't local law enforcement enforcing the law? There is no right to be violent on the streets anywhere in America, and yet they're being permitted because of Democratic administrations in jurisdictions, whether they be city or county, that are permitting this. They've bought into this violence.
They actually get a stand down.
Has the media contributed to the hate rhetoric that, because it sounds, I mean, Hollywood, anyone, are they contributing to this atmosphere where we've never heard somebody say they want to assassinate the president?
But they're normalizing it. They're normalizing it by repeating it over and over again.
Real quick,
and it's extraordinarily dangerous, Sean. It's extraordinarily dangerous. Because yes.
Very quickly, this is the left-wing national media, by calling this anti-hate demonstrations and protests, as they spew rhetoric that is violent, assassinate the president, destroy America. Where's the hate?
Thank you all. When we come back, Catherine Herridge, live report on all of this. Rudy Giuliani, also Laura Trump, a busy news night. Stay with us.